All right, welcome to week 2. This week we are starting a discussion of the arguments for equality for women, and we're going to be reading about some different voices for women's rights in the next few weeks. The first one that we're going to talk about is Mary Wollstonecraft. She was one of the earliest women to write for women's education and for expanding those types of rights for women to be educated and have some independence. So we will start with this questionnaire on feminism. I want you to take that, and then I'm going to have you watch this excerpt from Disney's Snow White and to discuss fairy tale women in this discussion and how women are portrayed in fairy tales. And this one, of course, was produced in the 1950s. And of course, women in fairy tales have changed over the years, but these are the traditional fairy tales that have been told to children throughout time. So we're going to talk about how women are portrayed. Then we're going to read some of Mary Wollstonecraft. We'll begin with an intro with some background on her life in this link to Shmoop. Then you're going to read some excerpts from her actual writing. And I just want to let you know that it's actually really probably the most difficult reading that we've done so far this year. There's not very much of it. It's not long, but it's going to take some time to read. We're going to read that and actively learn, and you're going to be answering questions along the way, and then also adding your own discussion, your own comments, questions, definitions, just like we did last week with a modest proposal. So that will be, it will take time to complete that and actively learn, but that will be a really enriching experience. And hopefully through going through it that way, you'll really understand it better. But just know that you're going to need to take some time to really understand it. But it's a really interesting, fascinating work of literature. We're just going to, this basically, A Vindication of Rights of Woman is a full-length book, but we're just going to read just part of the introduction, just about 10 pages of it. So it'll give you just kind of a taste of what she was arguing for. Then there's an assignment called The Hierarchy of Traits. As you read A Vindication of the Rights of Woman, look for traits that she discusses and some things that she values more than others. For instance, she values intelligence over beauty. Not saying there's anything wrong with being beautiful, but we're going to look at what is valued by her more than other things. And usually, society at her time valued a woman's beauty over her intelligence. So we'll talk about that in this assignment. At the end of the week, there's some language review on, I'm going to want you to practice woman versus women, since this is going to come up a lot. And there's always a lot of problems with knowing which form to use for singular versus plural, also among and between. So I want you to watch that. Watch this presentation on slang and cliche. Watch Fixing Sentence Fragments, because we're going to be doing some writing, and then take this practice quiz on sentence fragments. And that is it for week 2. I hope you learn a lot.